Hey, hello, and how are you? I'm Will Robinson Smith, your host of Old, New, and Now Playing, joining you as we come to the end, my friends, of the award season for all things film in 2018, because the 91st Academy Awards, the hostless Academy Awards, are just around the corner, and there's lots to talk about today. We're going to break down some of the big categories, looking at folks that should win, folks that will win, hopefully, if we're correct on this one, and I can't break this all down by myself, probably because I haven't seen every single thing that was nominated in all the categories we're talking about today, because there's no independent theater here in Huntsville. So joining me from sunny Sacramento, California, is my good friend and my former colleague, Keisha Howarth. Keisha, how are you doing this fine afternoon?
Well, today it's actually a little rainy and cloudy, so not quite sunny, but still nice over here, considering.
But it is sunny in my heart because it is home.
True.
So, you're a big Oscar buff. I think anyone that will quiz you on Instagram or in person can attest to that. And so, I figured that we needed someone on the show that has a little more Oscar acumen than I do, and you are definitely the first go-to in my book. So what we're going to do here is we're going to run down, like I mentioned, some of the big categories. Not all 24, but all 24 should be presented in the actual televised awards. We're going to get to that.
Present all 24.
Get that hashtag trending, present all 24. It's important. There's still time to change the Academy's mind and make the show even longer. But we're going to get to that at the end of the show, our thoughts on that. For now, we're going to break down in several of the categories, 13 to be specific. And as I mentioned, we're going to list what we think should win and what we think will actually win. It could be the circumstance that the two are one and the same. For a lot of these, for me at least, they're a little bit different. And so, for my methodology, I saw as many of these as I could.
There's still time.
There is still time. If you have an independent theater like the Tower back in Sacramento, go out and see some of the ones that you haven't watched yet, because there were a lot of gems in 2018.
Yeah, I'm still catching up, so that shows how much there was out there.
Yeah, and Keisha sees even more movies than I do. So we're going to start where a lot of good movies start, which is with the script, things on the written page. And so we're going to look at first writing adapted screenplay, and the nominees in this category are The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Black Klansman, Can You Ever Forgive Me, If Beale Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born. So I'm going to go ahead and start this one off. I think as far as what should win, I'm going to throw that to Can You Ever Forgive Me, but what I think will win is Black Klansman, partly because it was on the list for the Writers Guild, which hasn't had their, as of the recording of this video, they haven't issued their awards yet. But I don't see Black Klansman. I don't see Adam Driver necessarily winning for the acting categories, and I don't see it. I know it's been nominated in a few others, but I don't see it being a strong front runner. And we'll get to director in a little bit, but I think the Academy is going to show Black Klansman a little bit of love here, and so that's why I'm throwing it to Black Klansman in the writing category. Keisha, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually agree with all your thoughts there. My personal pick would be Can You Ever Forgive Me? That was just a very well done, witty script. This whole category actually, I think, is full of great screenplays. And I think the Academy, though, this will be like their time to finally award Spike Lee an Oscar. Maybe not for directing, but here in screenplay, perfect opportunity. Plus, it gives an award towards the movie, like you said. Don't know if they will award in any other category, so this is the best spot for it.
Yeah, and if you're going to give something to Black Klansman, I think having the award go to blacker side of the film, because obviously on the acting side, you don't have John David Washington nominated in the Best Actor category. So as far as performances, really all they have is Adam Driver to bank on. And so, like you said, I think Spike deserves his moment in the light. I would love to see him take home the Oscar. We think he will. What do you think? Jump in the comments, list your thoughts on that. And so let's move on to the other writing category for original screenplay. And here we have The Favorite, First Reformed, Green Book, Roma, and Vice. So let's have Keisha start with this one. What are your thoughts? Who should win? Who will win?
Should win. I think The Favorite has by far like the most interesting sort of screenplay. I also think First Reformed is worthy just because Paul Schrader is such a legendary figure in the film industry. He did Taxi Driver, Raging Bull. This is just his first Oscar nomination. But I think for him, the nomination is the win. But as far as who will win, I think it's close between The Favorite and Green Book, because those are both movies that the Academy really seem to love as far as looking at their nominations. So I think it'll be pretty tight. I want to give the prediction, though, to The Favorite. But that could also just be wishful thinking that what I want wins.
I'm right there with you, actually. The Favorite is what I think should win. I think it also will win this category. For me, you know, when I was watching The Favorite, the thing that struck me most, or one of like the big highlights, was the writing, and it was just sort of structurally how this movie was put together. The dialogue was really witty, but just imagining, because one of my favorite parts about the Academy Awards when they set up this part is, you know, seeing a shot of the script where you see not just the dialogue but also the stage direction for the film. And, you know, I can just imagine all of the different types of, you know, setting up certain types of shots and just the way that characters come into this space and inhabit the room and what they must be thinking and the direction that probably came from the script. So just for the whole overall structure, I think The Favorite actually will come out on top in this one.
Yeah, I agree. And I think
so
this is one category where Roma will not win, just because that film itself is more visual than it is known for its story. So not quite a clean sweep for Roma, but I think it's good to spread the love a little.
Yeah, hopefully Roma doesn't just go gangbusters on the Oscars and just take everything. And yeah, I think Roma definitely relied on more quiet moments and a lot of visual elements, which we'll get to in cinematography, certainly. So I don't want to hang up too much on that right now. So let's go from the written word to the word that becomes the lyric, becomes the song. We're moving on to Best Original Song, Music Original Song. And for this one, we have All the Stars from Black Panther, I'll Fight from RBG, The Place Where the Lost Things Go from Mary Poppins Returns, Shallow, A Star is Born, and When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings from The Ballad of Buster Scruggs on Netflix. And for me, if you can't see my shirt, it is a Black Panther shirt. It is my personal favorite movie of 2018. I think it was the best. It is top notch, and I think it should get the award for Best Original Song, but there is just such a powerful campaign behind Shallow and A Star is Born. You know, you had Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper performing it in Las Vegas together live, and, you know, now they're going to be performing it together at the Oscars. I don't see A Star is Born winning a lot of awards this year, despite the fact they're nominated for a lot. So I think if they don't, I'll be shocked if they don't get it in the music category, because that's going to be just a complete, I think if they don't get it here, they're going to be shut out. That's my prediction. So I think Shallow is going to take it in this category.
Yeah, historically, so as we all know by now, A Star is Born, this version is the fourth version of the movie. And it's a movie that in its previous iterations has been nominated several times at the Oscars, but has only, of the four movies so far, has only won two. The original movie won for original story. And then the Barbra Streisand won for original song. And so I'm thinking it'll be the same case with this movie. While they love the movie, they don't really care to reward it other than in song. So I would be shocked too if this didn't win and take it home.
So then is this your prediction for should win and will win, or do you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. A Star is Born is like, I'm still kind of deciding which movie was my favorite of the year, but it's like hovering around the number one spot. I adored this movie, so I wanted to take home at least one Oscar, and if it doesn't win here, I don't know where else it can win. So take it home, Gaga. That's all I gotta say.
As she strides toward her EGOT.
Yes.
Which I predict she'll have on her mantle. If she can win here, my bold life prediction then is Lady Gaga will have an EGOT and join that very select group of people by the time she is, let's say 50.
And Bradley Cooper is well on his way there too, since his first award from the EGOT he just won at the Grammys. So, which is kind of surprising. He's been nominated for a Tony, obviously nominated for a ton of Oscars. Hasn't gone back to TV yet, but I'm sure that time will come. But he has the Grammys, and that's the hardest one for an actor. So,
I mean, as we just saw, though, recently on Hulu, we've got George Clooney going back to television. And, I think with the era of streaming, opening up the door for people to get Emmy nominations, I think, the pathway to an EGOT just got a little bit easier just because the quality of television is so much better. But we're not talking about TV. We're talking about movies. Back on topic. So let's go on to original score. And here we have Ludwig Göransson for Black Panther, Terence Blanchard for Black Klansman, Nicholas Britell, If Beale Street Could Talk, Alexandre Desplat, Isle of Dogs, and Mark Shaman for Mary Poppins Returns. I know that Richard Sherman gave some musical direction for Mary Poppins Returns, and I don't see it necessarily winning if it can't. Again, I think this is another A Star Is Born situation. If it can't win here, it's probably not going to show up with force many other places, but
yeah.
And this may be misguided, but I think what should win and what will win is actually going to be the score from Black Panther, because I think it's in a similar situation. I don't see it doing well overall in the night if it can't do well here. There are some other places where it could pop up, certainly, that we'll talk about a little bit later. But, I thought there was just such a rich score in Black Panther, besides some of the singular songs, but just the... I was doing a little bit of research back when I reviewed Black Panther, and the places in Africa that Ludwig went to as he was researching some of the different tribal sounds and music and the variety of instruments that he was able to bring in, besides what you would typically get from your standard however many piece orchestra for a film score. I think just the diversity that he was able to incorporate in this score for all the various moments, from the fight between T'Challa and oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Yeah, no, not Killmonger. Earlier in the film, M'Baku. There it is. Between T'Challa and M'Baku, and then later on between Killmonger and him. In the same arena, but just having such a different flavor to those scenes, in large part because of the music. I'm going Black Panther all the way on this one. What do you think, Keisha?
So this is another category where I was struggling to pick a favorite, because they're all very good. Even for me, what the weakest one is, which is actually Mary Poppins Returns. I still think that is a very good score. And I actually am not sure where the Academy will sway, just because of how strong this category is. But for my pick and prediction, I'm going to go with If Beale Street Could Talk, just because that's another opportunity to reward that movie, though it didn't come away with a ton of nominations. But the score is like one of the most talked about aspects of the movie. It's just very beautifully done. And I believe he was previously nominated for Moonlight, and he lost that year to La La Land, which was a tough one to beat. So I think this is a good opportunity to reward Nicholas Britell here.
True.
And he also did the score for Vice, so I mean, his name is out there.
Although, do you see Alexander Desplat coming in and being like a dark horse here? I mean, he has won 2 Oscars in the past. As recently as last year for The Shape of Water. So, I mean, clearly the Academy likes him and likes his work. I mean, he also did scores for other Oscar darlings like Argo, like The Imitation Game, The King's Speech. So he's high on the radar. So I feel like if there's going to be a dark horse, that's probably where it's going to come from.
Yeah, and I can actually even see Black Klansman winning here because I've actually seen some people predict it winning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I mean, I really think it could go in any sort of direction. But I would be happy with any winner because, like I said, this is a very strong category. I enjoyed like all the scores.
Yeah, there's really nothing that should not be here. But like you were saying, probably Mary Poppins Returns, surprisingly as it is to say, is probably the weakest link. But I don't think you can just dismiss it out of hand.
Yeah, I still wish First Man made it in there because then that one I would have easily said prediction pick. But Justin Hurwitz won the Globe, so he has that. Plus, like I said, he won for La La Land a couple years ago.
Right, so he's got some metal on his mantle. He'll be fine. He'll come back in another year. I would say so. So let's go from the music now to the DNA of the film and how it all fits together. This is the film editing category, and here we have as our nominees Barry Alexander Brown for Black John Ottman, Bohemian Rhapsody. Ooh, I'm going to botch this one. Yorgos Maropolsivaridis from The Favorite. Sorry, Yorgos. Patrick D. John Vito for Green Book, and Hank Corin in Vice. So I'll let you start this one, Keisha. Who do you think is going to get it, and who do you think should?
So going from a strong category to, I think, the worst category of the 24, I could not believe the movies that were nominated here. Because, okay, let me just preface this by saying I thought Bohemian Rhapsody was all right. The editing was not good. Vice was even worse. The editing was just incoherent for me. Yeah, so, but I think having said that, both of those movies, their editing, I guess maybe not best, but it's definitely most editing. So I think it's between those two.
So by sheer volume of editing,
Yes.
you should go to one of those films.
Yes. So I'm leaning towards Vice winning, though I believe Bohemian Rhapsody won for Best Drama at the Ace Eddie Awards, which is the Guild equivalent for editors. Mm-hmm. As far as my personal pick, it's between The Favorite and Black Klansman, but I think I would have to lean towards Black Klansman. I mean, that movie would just be one that I would like to see as many awards as it can, but like I said, I think it's gonna go towards Vice, if not Vice, Bohemian Rhapsody.
So actually, I am right there with you. I think Vice will win, and I think Black Klansman should win. Vice was not as good as I wanted it to be. I still enjoyed it, and I thought it had some of the same sort of editing stylings of The Big Short, just not quite as well executed. But I believe Vice took film editing for the BAFTAs as well. So, I think, there's a case to be made there that voters like that style. But I just like some of the tricks that they pulled in Black Klansman just from a visual standpoint, and, just sort of how that movie was put together. So, yeah, should win. It's not going to win. But while we're talking about the visuals, let's move on down the road to the world of cinematography, which you'll see here on camera, but you're not going to see it at the Oscars. Again, we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But our nominees in this category are Ludkas Zal for Cold War, Robbie Ryan, The Favorite, Caleb Deschanel, Never Look Away, Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, and Matthew Libatique for A Star Is Born. And for a film called Never Look Away, I never started looking at it because it wasn't playing anywhere near here. So that's
I haven't
not
seen it yet, so we're in the same boat.
Fair. I think we're in the boat of like everyone that's watching this video probably. If you have seen it, let me know in the comments if it's any good. I mean, clearly it's good enough for cinematography, but just like beyond that,
Also
if
not
there's
an informed film, so.
okay, that's fair. So clearly there's some love for this. Not like Roma level love, but you know, it's there. So here I think I want the favorite to win this. I think it should win, but I think this is one of the categories that's really going to start the indication of Roma's big sweep of the night. I don't think it's going to do a total capturing of things. It's not going to pull, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King necessarily, but I think cinematography, that's really where Roma shines. And were there more pans than I would have personally liked? Maybe, but just to speak on the favorite for a second, there were just so many interesting camera shots and techniques that were used in this movie. I mean, the first time they had that fisheye camera pan, speaking of pans, I just like it. It throws you, but not in a way that necessarily pulls you out of the movie. It was just, and it always popped up in moments where, they wanted you to look at the film literally and figuratively, like from a slightly off kilter angle, and a lot of the movie had that feel to it because everyone was trying to undercut each other, and so it was a film about perspective and sort of where you fit in the world, and I felt like a lot of that was reflected in the cinematography as well. So that's why I think it should get some love. If it did, I would love that. But I think this is where you start to see Roma start to roar. So what do you think, Keisha?
Yeah, this is another very strong category. In fact, I was struggling to pick a favorite, though the favorite ended up not being my favorite. But I do agree that it have like really striking visuals, like the fisheye lens and just the different angles they took. I haven't, like I said, haven't seen Never Look Away yet, so I can't speak for that movie. A Star Is Born was really well done with filming the concert scenes, especially. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's actually probably between the two foreign black and white movies, Cold War and Roma. I think Roma will win it, though Cold War just won the ASC award, which is the Cinematographers Guild equivalent of the award. So it could have some competition there, but I think if the whole Academy is voting, obviously more people have seen Roma. I think it's another Oscar for Alfonso Cuarón. But saying all that, I'm gonna lean towards Cold War as my favorite, just because that movie was filmed in Academy ratio, which is more boxed in. And just the way that they utilized the frame was really well done.
And yeah, I was going to mention Cold War being nominated for the ASC if you hadn't touched on it. So thank you for bringing that up, because I forgot in my little spiel. So let's move on then to animated feature film. And this is going to be real quick, at least for me. Should win, will win, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's
I don't think we need to.
This shouldn't even be close.
Yeah. One of the best movies of 2018, easily.
Hands down.
Glad it's getting an Oscar. Should win, will win. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, virtually in every award show that this film has appeared, it has won, and with good reason. I mean, just to elaborate just a little more on it, because I don't want to just say the name and then move past it, because it deserves its love. It was just such an visually inventive movie that really played up the medium from which it, was born as a comic book storyline, but also did some things that you can only really fully capture in the form of film, and seeing it on the big screen, just the way that they weaved in and out of different styles of animation between the main stuff that we saw with Miles and Peter and Gwen, and then you had more of a cartoony feel with Peter Porker, more of an anime feel with Penny Parker, and just the fact that like all these different things could coexist side by side and because of the way it was structured, like none of it felt out of place.
Right. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
You know, it was a father-son story. It was a minority story. It was a triumph of, you know, finding your place in the world. It hit on so many different points of pride for me that I love this movie.
Yeah,
if
and
you couldn't tell.
obviously Spider-Man has been done multiple times already, but this managed to feel very fresh, and I think it helped that it was an animated movie and just what they did as far as, like you said, all the different animation styles and making it look seamless and not jarring was really well done.
And just yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and it deserves the Oscar, so.
It does. And my hope is that enough people have seen this and will see this, you know, once it wins the Academy Award, because it will. It better. And, you know, I hope that this allows Hollywood to see that you can take some smaller characters and do a feature-length animated feature like this, and to not be gun-shy about, you know, taking this leap with some other folks. You know, I hope it expands the medium. That is my takeaway from Into the Spider-Verse. And so now we're going to move on to some of the big guys. Here we're going to start in our acting categories with actress in a supporting role. And here we have Amy Adams for Vice, Maria de Tavira. Totally botched that. Sorry, Maria.
Tavira.
Yes. From Roma, Regina King, If Beale Street Could Talk, Emma Stone from The Favorite, and Rachel Weisz, also The Favorite. Here, this one was tricky for me. I think, because I liked all these performances, but, you know, if you're not going to go the SAG route, and we talked a little bit about this off camera, but if you're not going to go the SAG route and put Emily Blunt in for A Quiet Place, because she should be somewhere in the Academy Awards, and she's not at all for either movie, which is very, just hurts my soul.
Yeah, after such a strong year, too.
Yeah, I mean, you have Mary Poppins Returns, and you have A Quiet Place, and both films are just like, nah. So kudos to SAG for putting her for both, and shame on the Oscars for snubbing her in both categories. But all that being considered, I think Regina King should win. I think Rachel Weisz will win. You know, beyond the visuals, the strongest part of The Favorite was the performances that lifted this really dynamic script off the page. And, you know, between, like, it's if you're gonna compare like Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone, like the two are very similar in strength, but I felt like I got a little bit more from Rachel Weisz's character over the course of the film of The Favorite, that I think she just did a little bit more. But I love Regina King's performance in Beale Street. You know, just the strength of her as the mother, you know, watching her daughter go through, you know, trying to support her man, and, you know, just the way that she was just trying to be a you know, sort of the backbone of that family was just a really well executed performance. So those are my thoughts on that category. What do you think, Keisha?
So this is definitely the most unpredictable of the acting categories. I think it's kind of between three people: Regina King, Rachel Weisz, and Marina de Tavira, just because that was such a surprise to see her among the nominees. Mm-hmm. And in all the precursor awards so far, it's kind of been a different winner. So I could see her easily winning. But I think Regina King is going to have the edge over her and Rachel Weisz, though Rachel Weisz did just win the BAFTA. But she also already has an Oscar, so I don't know if the Academy necessarily wants to give her another one, but we'll talk about that in another acting category. So it really just depends person to person. I don't think, while obviously they loved The Favorite, I don't know if they want to necessarily give it all the awards. While If Beale Street Could Talk only got about 3 nominations, I think this definitely like the one place where they can truly reward the movie. So, and Regina King is also my personal pick for this. So hopefully that follows through.
So you think? So who? I know she's your personal pick. Who do you think will get it? Because it sounded like you were kind of waffling and dancing around it.
Oh no, I was saying Regina King will have the edge over all of them.
Oh, you think she will? She should and will take it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, cool. So then we're going to move on to actor in a supporting role. And here we have Mahershala Ali for Green Book, Adam Driver, Black Klansman, Sam Elliott, A Star is Born, Richard E. Grant, Can You Ever Forgive Me, and Sam Rockwell for Vice. I'll let you go ahead and start because I have some thoughts on this one.
Okay. Well, though I just said Rachel Weisz probably won't be getting her second. The reason being, Green Book only has a few chances to win, and this is the one where they can truly reward the movie. There's been some controversies with the movie, but I think a lot of voters aren't really responding to it and still want to reward the movie in some way, and Mahershala Ali is easily a place where they can reward it. Do I think he should be in the supporting category? No, he's more of a co-lead in the movie. But I do like him as an actor. I still think Moonlight is a stronger performance, though. People argue they got to see him more in Green Book and what he can do, but that's because he's a co-lead. But I digress. My personal pick would be Richard E. Grant for Can You Ever Forgive Me? That was just a phenomenal performance, a great supporting character. I also like Sam Elliott in this category, though we didn't get to see too much of him in A Star is Born. But to sum it all up, Mahershala Ali probably taking the win here. He's won all the previous awards. It's basically his to lose at this point. But would love a surprise Richard E. Grant win.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I have Mahershala Ali taking it pretty easily just because of his track record so far in previous awards. I had marked Sam Elliott as my should win, but you know, if I could mark down two, I would put Sam Elliott and Richard E. Grant, because I really hope more people go back and watch Can You Ever Forgive Me, because what he and Melissa McCarthy did together was just such a wonderful dynamic in that film. And yeah, so like I would be happy if either of them won, but I think Mahershala Ali was probably gonna just walk away with it like it's nothing. So for actress in a leading role, we have Yalitza Aparicio for Roma, Glenn Close, The Wife, Olivia Colman, The Favorite, Lady Gaga, A Star is Born, and Melissa McCarthy, as we were just talking about, in Can You Ever Forgive Me. The spoiler here is Yalitza Aparicio, which she didn't really show up in a lot of the other award shows and nominations. So I think she could be a spoiler here just because she's kind of come out from, you know, the Netflix world. But and this is her first feature film. So, you know, congratulations to her for even being nominated. Like, that's phenomenal for her. But I think Glenn Close is going to take this one. I think she should win. I think she will win. Although this is, you know, another really strong category where I don't think the Academy would be wrong in giving it to any of these women because they all had wonderful performances in each of their films. I just think, you know, Glenn Close got the SAG Award. She also got the Golden Globe. I believe she got the BAFTA as well, if I'm not mistaken.
No, actually, Olivia Colman won it.
Oh, was that right? Okay, well.
So.
Yeah, I guess that's not too surprising. You know,
yeah,
give
it's
the British award to the British actress, or in the British. Yeah. Anyway, but so I'm going Glenn Close all the way. She was just such a powerhouse in The Wife and was so expressive in the moments where she wasn't saying anything, you know, and was just sort of processing everything as her husband got all these accolades and she was, you know, sort of relegated to the shadows. You know, it's just such a nuanced and layered performance that I think she's going to take away this award.
Yeah, I agree. I know some people have argued that, oh, it's a career win because this is her seventh nomination, but having seen all the movies in which she was nominated, this is one of her strongest performances. So I think it's fully deserving for her to win this. It's not an Al Pacino son of a woman situation. Um, I'll be very happy to see her win. But as far as personal favorite, if I was truly just picking on performance, I would probably lean towards Olivia Colman, the favorite. But personally, if I was actually voting, just voting, I would pick Glenn Close because I want to see her hold an Oscar. I want her to win. So that's my pick and my prediction.
That would be great. And I think we're going to see that on February 24th. So, our last acting category, actor in a leading role, we have Christian Bale for Vice, Bradley Cooper, A Star is Born, Willem Dafoe at Eternity's Gate, Rami Malek at Bohemian Rhapsody, and Viggo Mortensen for Green Book. I think this is kind of the other one where you're going to see a strong play from A Star is Born. I think, being a writer director or actor director, I think that makes it a strong case for Bradley. But also, he just gave a really good performance in A Star is Born. I loved what he did opposite of Lady Gaga, and just of his own right. He is who I think should win.
Yes.
I think Rami Malek is probably going to win for Bohemian Rhapsody. He won the SAG. He won the BAFTA. People love his performance. I really liked his performance too. If you're talking about the film in its entirety, I would say no, but him in and of himself, like he was able to just so perfectly embody the physical manifestation of Freddie Mercury and his movements, and especially if you just like take the Live Aid concert toward the end of the film, like just all of the work that went into recreating those movements, the flares, the way he worked the crowd and fed off their energy. It's a great performance. So I think the Academy is going to go Malik on this one. I don't necessarily agree, but that's what I think.
So let me just kind of talk about this. I cannot believe Bradley Cooper is not taking all the awards for this, because he is far and away, for me, the best performance in this category. Mm-hmm. And I do think they're going to give it to Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody. They're giving it to the wrong rock star, but I digress. And it's a little disappointing that so often the Academy likes to nominate biopic performances. In this category alone, Bradley Cooper is the sole fictional character.
True. Yeah.
And what he did, I mean, yes, he was in a remake, but he built a completely new character from the ground up, whereas, well, in Willem Dafoe's case, he wasn't necessarily looking up YouTube videos of Vincent van Gogh. But I feel like everyone adores Queen. I adore Queen. Mm-hmm. I feel like they're kind of conflating the adoration for Queen's music with the movie, which does not reach the same level. And this is their chance to kind of reward a movie while enjoyable enough to watch for the music. As a movie overall, not very strong. But this is definitely the place where they can reward this sort of movie. And people love Freddie Mercury. Rami Malek has been doing well on the campaign trail. And like you said, he won all the previous precursor awards. So I think he is going to win the Oscar, though. There could be a surprise Christian Bale win, because that was another beloved performance. But don't know if people want to vote for Dick Cheney. But yeah, so I'm predicting Rami Malek, but Bradley Cooper really should win this, especially after losing out on a director nomination. This is a place where they can sort of make up for that.
And I'll just say before we move on from acting performances that going back to actor and supporting role, I I really would have loved if they had not nominated Sam Rockwell again and instead put in a Michael B. Jordan.
Same.
You know,
Yeah.
considering that, you know, Black Panther won the SAG Award for Best Ensemble Performance. It's nominated for Best Picture, which we'll get to shortly. You know, to not have any of their actors nominated in any of the acting categories, I think is a damn shame. And, you know, if you're going to put just one singular performance, I think it has to go to Michael B. Jordan for Killmonger, because it was just such, especially for, you know, a superhero film, you know, it was such a layered, interesting villain,
Right.
you know, that we haven't really seen since, you know, you could say Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. Obviously a very different type of villain, but,
Right.
you know, I think to shut all the actors out, I think that's a shame. But let's go on to director, and we're going to start with a person who has been previously shut out until this year, starting with Spike Lee in BlacKkKlansman.
Woo!
Moving on, we have Pawlikowski for...
Pavel Pawlikowski. You pronounce
Thank
them
you.
as V's in Polish.
Gotcha. For Cold War, I'm not even going to try that one again. Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favorite. I think I got that right. Alfonso Cuarón, Roma, and Adam McKay, Vice. We're going to see Cuarón flex again. Have our fifth out of the past six directors be winning for Hispanic director. I think Cuarón's going to take it. I think I would kind of like to see Yorgos win for The Favorite, though. I think that's my personal pick, if only because, you know, one of the key roles for a director is to pull the best performance he can out of his or her actors, and to have all of the principals nominated for The Favorite, I think says a lot about the prowess and the master of this film that is Yorgos Lanthimos. And so, you know, I think he should win, but I think more likely, if you're going to have an upset that doesn't have the Oscar go to Cuarón, it's probably going to be Spike Lee for BlacKkKlansman, just as, you know, kind of as I always said before, you know, as a career win, which I don't necessarily like there to be career wins, since this isn't the Lifetime Achievement Award, but, you know, to rectify the sins of the past, I think Spike Lee could pull the upset, but probably it's going to go to Cuarón for Roma.
Yeah, I think this is one of the sure wins of the night, along with Spider-Verse. So I think Cuarón's going to take his second Oscar for directing. I think my personal pick would have to be Spike Lee, though, yes, it would be sort of a career win. He already has an honorary Oscar, so they don't have to give him, or they don't have to feel obligated to award him any sort of Oscar, but they should.
But it'd be nice for him to get like a for real Oscar.
Exactly. And I do think BlacKkKlansman is one of his the best movies he's done. But this is, for the most part, a strong category. As I've sort of mentioned before, not a fan of Vice, so don't really care for that nomination for Adam McKay. But I do agree with your thoughts on Yorgos Lanthimos, especially as far as what he did with his actresses. Pavel Pawlikowski, I thought did a really fantastic job with Cold War. That was one of my favorites of the movies that made the Oscar nominations. Also made it into, as we mentioned, cinematography and foreign film. But yeah, I think this is Cuarón's to lose at this point.
And I think this is another category where I want Vice to get right the heck out of there, and you put Black Panther in. Ryan Coogler should be nominated for Black Panther. You know, he didn't get a nom for Fruitvale Station. He didn't get a nom for Creed, and both films were on the smaller side. They were gritty. They were amazingly crafted, and the Academy didn't give him any love. He should be here. That's... Yeah,
and also shout out to all the female directors who made amazing movies this year, and of course didn't get nominated again. We had Lynn Ramsey for You Were Never Really Here. We had Deborah Granick for Leave No Trace, and a movie that's nominated in a couple categories, Mariel Heller for Can You Ever Forgive Me? So I mean, there's a lot of women making great movies, but fail to get recognized by the Academy. Of course, we had Greta Gerwig last year for Lady Bird, but it's a very slow moving progression, and we deserve to see more women in that category and across the board.
Agreed. The what's the phrase? The arc of history is long, but it bends toward justice. And I think eventually we are going to start to see more women rightfully being nominated and recognized for their work. Sadly, the 91st Oscars is not their year. 92nd, 2019. We've got some great ones coming up on the horizon. So let's see what we can do when we come out to the end of next year. But we're coming to the end of this list of last year. This is, of course, the Best Picture category, and we have as our nominees Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star is Born, and Vice. So again, I'm going to just indicate to my shirt as far as what I think should win. Not biased at all, but this is my favorite movie, and it's not going to get a lot of love in other categories. And if the SAG is really a good indicator of what should win Best Picture, which it isn't necessarily, but I would love to see Black Panther win. That would make me just so happy. I would run around my apartment complex just whooping and hollering and have people tell me to shut up, and I wouldn't, because it'd be awesome.
Wakanda forever.
Yes, forever and ever and ever, amen. But sadly, not sadly, but I think this is where Roma is gonna once again come out and say, yeah, but nah. This is gonna take it home for the folks at Netflix. I think Roma is gonna come out on top of this one. Really, as long as it's not Bohemian Rhapsody or Vice, I think I'll be happy.
Oh,
but I would love to see Black Panther. Probably The Favorite or Green Book. I don't know. Like, this is sort of like gradations of likelihood. I think there are like 4 that are like really could be, and then 2 that it really shouldn't be, and the other 2 are kind of like they're chilling. But yeah, I think Roma's gonna take it. If I had to just put some money down, which I don't, thank God, but for my permanent prediction to the internet is Roma. What do you think, Keisha? What do you have your digital money on?
So this is probably the toughest category maybe to predict, just because this whole award season, it's kind of, the Best Picture has been going to kind of different movies, which I actually do kind of like to see instead of seeing the same thing win over and over. I kind of like seeing the spread, even if some of the movies I don't like win. I just like seeing variety and kind of showing what came out the year previous. But I think it's between Roma and Green Book for the win. It's especially hard to predict with the preferential ballot. But I think Roma is a movie that people admire enough that they will rank it, maybe not number 1, but like 2 or 3. As far as my personal pick, this was also tough for me to decide. For me, it's kind of split between 4 movies or I would say 3 movies I really liked. 1 movie I strongly admire. Or I guess I would say 2 I admire. And then the other 3 I don't like very much. So
I wonder which ones those are.
Yeah. So
if you couldn't tell by now, you have not been paying attention to this video. So welcome back.
I think Roma is probably the most well done movie. I liked it a lot, but I would put it more in like a movie I admired more than I loved. Same with The Favorite. But I really liked Black Panther, A Star is Born, and Black Klansman. You can figure out what the other 3 were. So as far as which movie I would like to see win, I think it'd be really fun to see Black Panther win.
Yeah.
Black Klansman would be a good one too, just to see Spike's reaction, and everyone else, but especially Spike. But I think overall, if I were voting, I would vote for Roma, just because historically no foreign film has ever won Best Picture, and that'd be kind of a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
And especially, I guess, with the sort of political climate, kind of sending that sort of message. Um, but yeah, I think for the most part, it's a good category with some good movies in there. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised if Green Book ended up winning over Roma. But I think overall, Roma's going to take it.
And so we have come to the end of our predictions for this video. So running through one more time for best for writing adapted screenplay, I had BlacKkKlansman will win, Can You Ever Forgive Me should win. The Favorite should and will win for writing original screenplay. Shallow from A Star Is Born will win. All the Stars from Black Panther should win from the music original song. Ludwig Göransson will win for Black Panther and should win, in my opinion. For film editing, Vice will win. BlacKkKlansman should win. Cinematography, Roma will win. The Favorite should win. Animated feature film, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse should and will win. Actress in a supporting role, Rachel Weisz will win. Regina King should win. Actor in a supporting role, Mahershala Ali will win. Sam Elliott should win. Actress in a leading role, Glenn Close should and will win for The Wife. Actor in a leading role, Bradley Cooper should definitely win, but Rami Malek unfortunately will win. Directing, Alfonso Cuarón will win. Yorgos Lanthimos should win for The Favorite, and for Best Picture, Roma will take it away. Black Panther, Wakanda should live forever with an Academy Award.
Adapted screenplay will win. BlacKkKlansman should win. Can You Ever Forgive Me? Original screenplay should win. The Favorite will win The Favorite. Original score, If Beale Street Could Talk should win and will win. For film editing, unfortunately Vice will win, but I think BlacKkKlansman should win. Cinematography, Roma taking home another award, but I think Cold War should win. Animated feature film, Spider-Verse should win, will win. Actress in a supporting role, Regina King should win and will win. Actor in a supporting role, Mahershala Ali will win. Richard E. Grant should win. Actress in a leading role, Glenn Close should and will win. And actor in a leading role should go to Bradley Cooper, but it's going to go to the other rock star, Rami Malek. And for directing, Alfonso Cuarón take another one home for Roma, but Spike Lee should win. And Best Picture, going to say should and will win Roma.
We're done. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much to Keisha for joining me today. Keisha, where can the folks find you if they want to follow you online?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Keishaworth. And if you have a Letterboxd account, I'm at Cinema Cities. You can see all the tons of movies I'm spending too much time watching as far as different lists, as far as ranking every movie that's been nominated and not nominated, has won Best Picture. Haven't quite watched every movie nominated for Best Picture in the history of the Oscars. There's just too many. But there's some other fun movie-related things on my Letterboxd account there.
Perfect. And you can follow me. All of my social information is in the description box below. But briefly, at W_Robinson_Smith is my Twitter and Instagram handle. Guys, if you've made it to the end, I thank you so much for watching our prediction video. You are truly the best. And I hope you enjoy the 91st Annual Academy Awards. I will have my full prediction list up on my Facebook page, which is just my name, Will Robinson Smith. You can go check that out there after watching this video. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. It's a big help to help us grow and do some more fun things down the road. Like the video if you enjoyed this marathon of predictions and pontificating and pondering of all things cinema. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and as always, I will see you next time.